This video is a conversation between me and Janna, who is one of my clients from the Netherlands who recently got a job in the BIM industry. When she first came to me, she was feeling stagnant and stuck in her career because she didn't want to take the slow lane architectural career path and she wanted to get into the BIM industry and grow much quicker, right? So what we did is we positioned her as an expert in the field, and within 90 days we were able to break her into the industry into a very fast growing company. So in this video, me and her are going to have a conversation, and it's going to be a very casual conversation about exactly what we did in order to get her from where she was and break her into the BIM industry. So we talk about everything in terms of what skills we learned, what she did on the interviews, what she had to learn, right? And if you stay until the end of the video, we will actually talk about all the tips and tricks that we use in order to make her position as a very good, skilled individual so that she's perceived as someone that is very highly desirable in the BIM industry. Wherever the conversation goes, it goes. But I wanted to talk about the process of everything, and then where you were before you started, and then obviously, I mean, you got a job. So did you get the
Yes.
offer? You got the offer later.
Yeah. They sent me the contract and stuff.
No one knows the sort of job you got and what you were looking for even. Like, what were you
Okay.
even looking for?
So my intention was to be in a role that offers me the opportunity to design, but also parallelly be in touch with the construction side of the building, like the realization phase, um, collaborating with different stakeholders, um, also like, the site visits and this kind of stuff like that
Yeah.
in a technical designer term rather than just a designer, you know. And yeah, so I got three interviews, but two of them were more on the designing side than I expected it to be, which that's how I worked before as well. And I didn't really wanted that at this point in my career. So that's why when I had the interview in this office, it was really intriguing. Also meeting with the different people from different discipline, like the head of design and the
Mm.
BIM manager. I think they gave me a really good overview of the whole process, what my role would be, how it would go, in terms of growth as well. Uh, that was really intriguing and inspiring for me. And that I think that also kind of created a different kind of interest in that company when I saw that, okay, as an employee, I have a growth potential.
Mm.
Also, the advancement of my career, like looking forward.
Yeah.
So, and also obviously, like I'll be in touch with different sector, like of course the design, but then again, the technical part of it, going to the sites, going to the factories, making sure everything is done properly, dealing with different stakeholders, um, and then also like being part of the R&D projects, which is I'm really looking forward to. So yeah, like I get to do all the fun stuff that I want from architecture. So
Yeah.
it's like Disneyland.
Yeah. It doesn't it doesn't feel like you're sitting behind a desk and just doing some stuff because you're getting paid. It doesn't feel like a
Yes.
money for time relationship. It feels more of like a I'm doing what I actually want to do, and I'm dealing with all these people and I'm solving problems, which is like making me feel good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also like exactly like having the diversity of the role.
Mm.
That's the thing best that's the best part. Like
Yeah.
I get to grow in all those aspects.
Yeah. And be like a well-rounded in terms of your career, learning all the skills that makes
Yeah.
someone like an expert at in this industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was your issue before you even started? Like, why was it so hard for you to go through this by yourself?
Because because I couldn't get the whole picture.
Okay.
That was the basic, like the first and foremost thing. Because like I said, the software thing, I can get it out there,
Mm.
There are programs, but again, it's just showing me the fragment of it, you know, not the whole thing. So, and also like I think it's like a personality default. Like for me to move forward with anything, I need to understand, like I said, like the whole picture. I need to zoom out, understand what's happening, what there, and then I zoom in and focus on the places that I need to work on or like improve, you know. So that was not happening there. But with you, I realized you had more things to offer than I actually thought was existed, you know.
Mm.
And then along the way, I started working on the checklist. And like, I think through your material, I kind of understood where these small things exist in that bigger picture. So yeah, and that's when I started getting more confident and stuff. Like learning the softwares was not a big deal for me. You know, it was
Mm.
really your instructions was really clear. Your explanations was really helpful. Um, but yeah, the theoretical part was really the striking point of for me for this whole program.
Yeah, okay.
Rather than the software thing, you know, that
Yeah,
would, which I keep telling you, like focus, you don't focus on that part. I don't know why, but you need to,
yeah,
like when you next time promote this, you know. And also like the new programs that you added recently, that like as you said, that gave me like another different kind of perspective,
yeah.
which I knew what Solibri is, and it does like it checks models like the quality of stuff like quality control and stuff like that. But the workflow, see, you kind of explained it in a nice way and where the other puzzles kind of fits in.
Mm.
So that was nice because like I said, I couldn't find this whole picture thing anywhere else, you know.
Yeah.
Even in my checklist, you'll notice like I wrote it down, like I wrote down the steps, but I don't know like the flow of it or like how those things comes together. That was really necessary for me.
Yeah, it's like BIM, and then there's like Celibri, Navisworks, ACC. There's Revit, there's
Yeah,
IFC, then there's like other modeling programs like ArchiCAD, and then you don't understand
yeah,
how they all come together. And then even when they
exactly.
do come together, okay, you just know how to use the program, but then what? Like, how do you think
Then
like
what?
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Then what?
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But in terms of the whole process then, so we went through like you learned all the programs. You also learned like you not only learned the programs, but then we went through like how the programs talk to each other, how like the open and
Yeah,
closed BIM workflow works. But then just knowing that is not enough to get you the job. Because if I just taught you that and I said, okay, now
yeah,
you're by yourself, go find a job, it's like then what? Like, what do you do there? But then, what do you
yeah.
think from that point onwards? Okay, you have the programs, you understand these things. From that point onwards, then how do you? What's the?
Your therapy sessions. Your therapy session. I told you, start a different business. That's the highlight of this whole program. Like that's one of the highlights, I would say. You
Hmm,
know, like the
the
trips and
one-on-one.
tricks you
Yeah.
have. It was like the CV stuff. It was really helpful, you know. I never knew you can do CV like that before.
Yeah, with the framework, with the
So
action.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yes,
action-oriented framework. Yeah,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
also the even the cover letter, changing the
yes,
yeah.
yes. Also that, and also the portfolio thing, like going through it, like how to, like all these small things, you know, it doesn't take much, but these small things makes a whole lot of difference. Also about the, you know, the one thing that really kind of changed my perspective about this whole interview thing is that you don't, it's not the just they're doing your interview, you're also
Yeah,
doing their interview as well. This is like a really powerful line, like
yeah,
that
because
kind of
yeah.
changed my perception of how I see this whole process, you know. And also like going through their like doing the research, preparing for it like very structurally, that was really nice. And then also the negotiation thing that you mentioned, that was also helpful, you know.
Mm,
And of course, like there are times like when we start to freak out and your
yeah,
small therapy sessions, that's priceless,
yeah.
man. That's really priceless.
That's good to hear.
You really need to sit with it, you know. Like I think it's better like you're doing this interview, do this interview, and I know, yes, what you started with, it became kind of more than what you expected it to be
Mm.
honest, you know? From your perspective, things were like that. But now that you started hearing our reviews or going through our journey, you understand that you impacted our life way more than you thought you would.
Mm.
So maybe kind of sit with that and then come up with strategies for your next batch. It would be really, really amazing.
So you have the technical knowledge, and then we went through like the CV stuff, cover letter, CV cover letter, portfolio, and we made everything good. But then when you went to and you started getting interviews, but
Yeah,
and then during that process, how did you feel? Because that was like that was a that was probably the hardest, most
yeah,
challenging process going
yeah,
through the interview phase because
yeah,
you're putting your life on the line because now it's like oh, I
yeah,
learned these things. Now you're exposed. Now it's like okay, you either reject me or accept me for the skills I've learned and the way and the things that I've done. And then that
mm.
feels even that's probably that was you'd say that would probably be the hardest part of this whole journey, right?
Yes, that was torturous, like literally. Um, the interviews went well, which was like even to my surprise, I didn't know why I reacted like that. But now looking back, I think it was that suspense, that uncertainty that was kind of nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
So, like even before the interview, I'll be freaking out. Like I'll be totally out of my head and all over the place. But when I started talking, like everything's changed, which was really surprising, even for me, you know. So that was something new I discovered about myself as well.
Hmm.
But then yes, the like in between time, like waiting for their response or like, those waiting periods was like really torturous.
Yeah.
Like it was like every day felt like a year.
Because
That's
you're applying, you're not getting a response back, and then some companies are
yeah,
rejecting you. Then you're getting an
yeah,
interview at one company, and it's like, oh, now I have to stop applying and then think about this company. Then you do
yeah,
the first interview, then you don't get through the first interview, but then you do
yeah,
another one, and then there's a whole process.
yeah. And also after doing these few interviews, like I told you, like the roles that I wanted, I wanted to be more active on the construction side of the project rather than the design. So that's also exciting for me now after, being able to get the position. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean that was your goal. Like you came and then you were telling me that um you had done architecture, but you wanted to learn more
Yeah.
like in the field, more hands-on with construction and that whole
Yeah,
process and expand your skill set. So you didn't
yeah,
want to just get an architecture job. You wanted to be in a work environment where you felt like you could learn and you had the potential to like grow in this sense rather than
yeah,
just the traditional architecture. You learn this, then this, then this, and then like you know where everything's gonna head and you have to do
yeah,
the same thing every day.
yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
but you aligned um pretty much your skill set with where you want to go. So like you're on the right trajectory, which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I was sad in between because the interviews that I did, they had good opportunity. The office was really amazing. I loved it. But then again, there was no construction side. I think that was also another thing that I was kind of sad about. Like, okay, what if I get job? Yes, I would love to be here, but then again is that loop, you know?
Yeah, like you learn BIM
So
coordination, like you learn the MEP stuff,
yeah,
you have all this skill, and then like you don't want to just go back into architecture after that. Like you want to,
exactly.
yeah.
I think this is also another concern that I had because the interview that I had the other day, it like I was more interested to talk about the coordination stuff or like how this different discipline collaboration works, but it didn't seem like the way they're talking, it didn't seem like there was much to it. So then I was like, okay, so maybe that's not what I want at this point in my career.
Mhm.
So that's why I think, yeah, that also made me feel more assured of my choice at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I'm really, really lucky to be able to get this one, like
Yeah.
exactly what I wanted.
Yeah. I mean, we create our own luck. Like it's hard to be lucky when you're sitting on the couch the whole day, but it's easy to be lucky when you're doing things. So when you start
Yeah,
applying
it's
for jobs
true.
and you eventually get a job, it might and you get a job that you like, it
Yeah.
feels lucky. But then you wouldn't have
That's
happened if you didn't do
yeah,
anything. So is it even luck, or is it like
I
you
know.
did a series of actions which got you an outcome?
Yeah.
No, it's interesting because like 4 months ago, your sole focus was like I need to get a job and like I need to get into like a good company with like all these things, and then you get to this point, and then now you think, oh, now it's like now like a bunch of more problems grow, which are good
Yeah.
problems to have. If I told you
Yeah.
these are the problems you would have had like 4 months ago, you'd have been like, give me those problems
Mhm.
now. I'll
Yeah.
solve them now. But like you but you have a
That's
bunch of
true.
problems now that you're trying to solve, which is
Yeah.
like to do with like career development, growing. You're actually in a company now that has, you told me that they seem to really like you, and also it seems like you're going to be getting the opportunity to learn and grow. It's not just going to be
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
those companies where you're forced to do the same thing over and over again for the next 10, 20 years because they just want to cog
Yeah.
in the wheel. It's a company where you can do a specific task but also learn the other tasks, help people out and
Yeah.
grow. And it's like the ceiling is now being taken off so you can start to learn and grow. So
Yeah.
I think that is the even more than getting a job, because people can get a job, but it's like you
It's
need to get a
true.
job at the right place, which is what you said before
Yeah.
about you're interviewing the company as well as the company's interviewing you.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
when you shift the frame, then you start to realize I'm not just going to work at a random company because they want someone in the team. I'm going to work at a company if they want me to grow and they're going to give me the opportunity to, because that's what my vision is. It's
Yeah.
like does the company's vision align with my vision? And when you make that shift, then the way you speak changes and then the way they treat you changes. And I think that's what you experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Which was really new for me, because yeah, like being with people who are excited about what you do, it's incredible, and like yeah, it's not often you come across those kind of people or the environment.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's one of the best things is like, because we're at the office, like we work 8 hours, 9 hours a day, right? So that's like a majority of your
Yeah.
day. Like you sleep and then you work and then like you make food, you eat food and do all that stuff. So it's like you get like a few
Yeah.
hours of free time in the rest of the day. So like majority of your day is working. So if it's at a
Yeah.
place where you feel like you're getting like everything drained out of you and you don't want to do it, and it's like you don't have the capacity to like expand your mind and do all these other things, and you're gonna hate your
Yeah.
life. So
Yeah.
yeah, was that something that you were thinking like before you even were getting a job? Like I
I
don't want to
mean,
end up like that.
yes, because in the previous, like I told you, like in my previous role, I was not growing after a
Mm.
certain point, and I felt stuck, and I don't want to be in that same situation again. I mean, that was my whole purpose of this career trajectory changing, So that I was really, again, I know it sounds weird, but I was lucky. I was looking forward to something like this, but you don't always get it. And I said, like, I was desperate to have a job. I was like, at this point, I don't care. I just need a job.
Yeah,
I was telling you the other day. So I guess it kind of like after finishing those a few interviews that I got, I started like aligning with my requirement checklist with the offers that I'm gonna get or like the companies that I got the interviews. I'm like, so that was the company that kind of most ticked off my checklist. So I was like, okay, like that doesn't always happen, like so when I realized that, like after that conversation, because with the contract, a lot of things wasn't clear to me, but after that phone call, it became like very transparent, and I was like instantly like I was, oh my God, like I'm I'm,
yeah.
I'm really, really lucky to like
Yeah, it feels
got
like the
this
stars
role.
aligned to the point where you learnt a skill set and you wanted to be in a specific trajectory in your career, and then you got that, but you're also utilizing the power of your skill set that you've learnt in the
Yeah.
past and your experience you learned in the past. So
Yes.
it's like everything
Yes.
came together at once, and it's like
Yeah.
how did that happen? Yeah,
Exactly. Like I'm surprised
yeah,
and also confused and also startled.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Okay, I got
yeah.
one more question.
Okay.
For someone that is that wants to get started, or maybe wants to have a chat with me, or is stuck or in a similar position to where you were before, where you felt like you wanted to learn this stuff and grow, but you sort of like there's so many different directions and there's so many different ways that you could go, you don't know what to do. Um, what what would you say? Like, who would you say working with me is suitable for? Like, what type of person and what
Okay.
would they learn?
So initially they have to have the drive and the hunger for what they want from this program. Like if they're not invested in this, it's a waste of your time. Like, and also like, I mean, see, in the long term, not just the short term, like, okay, I want to achieve this and that's it. No, in the long term, because like as I mentioned, like your program is not just about now. It's like the development that's happening, that's unfolding with time. I already have so much knowledge as a BIM manager, which is insane because I even started my career. So that's the thing. So you have to have that long-term goal, long-term vision where you want to move forward after this. You cannot just focus on this right now. Also, he or she has to be dedicated to what they want
Like have a
and be
vision?
invest.
Yeah.
Yes, vision and like not just economically or just for the career, like personal motivation.
Mm,
Otherwise, why would you want to spend so much time and money
mm,
outside of your job or your career on this?
yeah.
So that's, I think, also one other thing. Like, if you get those kind of driven, committed people, you're gonna get the outcome that you're looking for,
Mm,
you know, because you really have handpick of people. Because imagine if you become like a mainstream thing and you are getting everyone, that's kind of harming your reputation in the
mm,
business, because whatever is the outcome at the end of this program, yes, you will get an instant outcome at the end of it. Like, I got the job instantly, which is all thanks to you. But again, what I'm doing in the future with my career is kind of also related to you, because you helped me with that knowledge. You helped me with that skill. So these clients, they are kind of the uh, concrete factor of your program, that they were able to advance in their career faster than the other persons, because
mm.
they had more skills than someone who is in the same industry, like with the same experience or with the same background.
Yeah, so you're saying
Yeah.
like you're not only going to get like the short-term outcome which you want, like you can get a job, you can move into the career you want, you can find something that you feel passionate about, but it's like after that, it's also going to be like a permanent change where you will then start
Yes.
to grow quicker just because of the
Yes.
things you learnt in the few
Yes.
months. Yeah.
So I think, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think the term beam accelerator kind of reflects to that. Like, it's not just done with getting the job or getting the promotion, you know? It's moving forward. Like, also, but also, to be honest, it's not just up to you. Like, see, I got the job, but now if I decide, like, okay, now I'm done and I'm not gonna utilize this all this knowledge anymore, then there's nothing you can do about it,
Yep.
right? And it's like, it's not obviously well invested from your end, because that's the outcome, that's the long-term outcome of your project. Like,
Mm,
you are developing that person in a way that they're gonna move forward with their career faster, like how you did with your career.
mm.
So, but you also understand that that requires a lot of hard work, commitment, a few
Yeah.
sacrifices.
Yeah, that's 100% the case. Like I can give the exact blueprint and the exact put someone on the exact path, but once you put someone on the exact path, they need to then drive it and have the acceleration to go down that path. I
Yeah.
can put them on the path and they just stand there and look at the path and be like, "Oh, this is a nice path." But then like they're not going to get anywhere. But then someone that has like the drive, well, you have the drive from the start. We were having like I could tell from the call when the calls we were having the questions that you had, and you sent me like BIM checklist and all these different things, and you wanted like you had done so much research about this whole industry and this like everything you knew like you didn't even know like you knew that these were the things that you needed to learn, but you didn't. They were like all scattered. And they didn't like come into one.
Yeah.
But like that's how
Yes.
much you had like breathed these like this. Like you were eating and breathing this before you even started with me. But then all I did was I took that energy that you had scattered everywhere, and we just directed it in a location, and we learned something specific, and then we found out how to apply and how to position yourself in a good way, and then as long as you have the same direction and you know where you're heading, um, then you're going to be able to grow really quick in your career as well.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Even though I had the ingredients, I didn't had that capacity to cook the meal,
Mm,
you know, but you had, so you kind of helped me with it. That's the thing. But imagine if somebody they don't have the ingredients or maybe all the ingredients, then it's kind of even though you're investing your time and in all this knowledge, the the meal is not gonna come out
mm,
because some of them like no, obviously not gonna come out. There will be a meal
yeah.
which is just it's not gonna be tasty.
Mm,
So yeah, I think that's gonna be. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna get the kind of people you're looking for because it's like a thing, like how do I say? There was a it's a quotation that I got from one of the my favorite anime. I don't know if you watch anime series or not. Okay. Um, it's like opportunities uh comes to those who prepare themselves for it, you know?
that's like the similar thing that I said about
You
luck.
said
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Like
yes.
it's hard to be
So
lucky when you're sitting on a couch. It's easy to be
yeah,
lucky when you're going and doing things. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like that, like what people call luck or destiny or fate or miracle. It's just that, like you're saying it. Do you know the concept of law of attraction? It's
Mm,
just basically that.
yeah.
Like you're setting out, you're spending all of your waking hour with this or like a part of it. So you're sending out that energy in the universe, and in one way or another, you're gonna get it based on how much you invested on this.
Yeah.
If and like if you invested 10% on this, you cannot ask or hope to get 80%, you know?
Yeah.
So is that. But
Yeah. I mean, focus plus direction is what equals success.
yeah.
So if you
But
have, yeah.
to be honest, like the amount of invested you are on this program, you will attract that kind of people. Like at least so far, what I've heard from the other members from this program, like it was amazing, to even be able to connect with them and see the same kind of drive and motivation out
Mm,
of them for this thing. I mean, we all came here for different reasons, obviously, but still, our intention or our direction was, yeah, like figuratively the same
mm.
thing.
It's like you all had the
So,
drive, but then it's like
yeah,
you might have had different motivations, but you had like a similar drive.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah.
Yeah. That's good. All right, we'll stop it here.